Well, praise be Jesus Christ. Thanks for hanging out with me. Last night, I woke up about 6 or 7 times, it seems, kind of in this panic. I would wake up and just kind of have this panic or anxiety when I would wake up. And it's interesting that every time that I would wake up, I have this word that would be in my mind, and that word was forgiveness. It was almost like I would wake up shocked, forgiveness, and then I'd be, okay, what is that? And then I'd go back to sleep. And I'd wake up again in a panic, and I'd hear forgiveness. Go back to sleep. Forgive. And it happened enough times that I was like, all right, Lord, what are you saying here? What is it I'm needing to understand? And one of the times, the last time I guess I woke up and was thinking about, had that on my mind. The verse came to my mind where Jesus says, if you don't forgive others their trespasses, the Father won't forgive you of yours. And that's sobering. That's a lot of gravity to that verse. It's like, what is that? What are you saying? And I've heard a lot of a lot of pastors and people just kind of dismiss that. Oh, that really doesn't mean that. But it came to my mind, and I was like, well, forgiveness is a real thing. Forgiveness is serious. Learning how to be forgiveness. The ultimate act of forgiveness is found in the person of Christ. And I find forgiveness hard. Forgiveness is difficult when and maybe you experience this too, or have seen this, or you've had this in your life where you've gone through difficult times. You've been traumatized, or you've been abused, or you've been you've had accusations leveled against you, or you've just faced a lot of difficulty from other people. And it's very easy to take on a victim mentality, to blame others, and to not walk and live in forgiveness. I've experienced that. I still deal with that. That's what I'm dealing with now, as the Lord's bringing this idea of forgiveness, and that just bringing to mind situations and things where I need to offer and live in forgiveness. I think about the Lord's Prayer. I pray that at least many of us pray that at least once a day, if not multiple times a day. And give us this day our daily bread. Forgive us our trespasses as we forgive those who trespass against us. Forgive us of our sins as we forgive those who sin against us. We're asking the Lord's forgiveness for our sins, and sometimes it just feels like a throwaway phrase, and that we need to forgive others that sin against us. And that's the whole concept of where we, later on in this same passage, in the same idea, that where the Lord tells us that we need to forgive. If we don't forgive, that the Father won't forgive us. So forgiveness is a really serious deal. And this is the manner which Christ taught us to pray, and again taught us this is a manner in which we are supposed to live, and I find it incredibly difficult. The ultimate forgiveness is Christ on the cross, and the ultimate forgiveness is the Creator being crucified and killed by the by the by the creature, the one who, the one who created is subjecting himself to the people, to the ones that he created, and they're killing him. And he says in the Gospel of Luke, Father, forgive them, for they know not what they do. That's some real heavy stuff there. It's like, how does that even happen? Like the amount of compassion and love and forgiveness that Christ felt in that moment for the people that were crucifying him and ultimately killing him. It's unimaginable. It's unfathomable. You just can't even get your head around that. But yet we're called to live in this forgiveness. We're called to forgive. We're called to be like Christ. He that hath begun a good work in you will perform it. The Father is conforming us into the image of His Son. We are being conformed into the image of Jesus Christ. And Christ told us to forgive. He lived in forgiveness. All the stuff that He had to put up with, He forgave, openly forgave. And I want to live that way. I just find it hard, and I pray, Lord, help me to be like Christ. Help me to forgive like Christ. Because I don't. All I know is my situation, and I know that there's been some really, really painful, difficult, traumatic things happen in my Christian walk, in ministry, with other people. It's, and I'm no saint either. I know that just as much as I've been afflicted upon, I've inflicted on others. I think it's like the idea of being the concept that Jesus talks about of being, when you bring your gift to the altar, that if you remember someone has something against you, that you need to go and be reconciled to that brother. It's really this beautiful idea of trying to reconcile relationships. And I know for myself, I've tried to do some of that in the past, where I've gone to brothers and sisters and said, you know what, I realize that I've really made a mess of this relationship. I've hurt you deeply, and trying to reconcile and trying to ask for forgiveness, and it's been, some of that's been beautiful, and there's been relationships restored, but at the same time, there have been others that will not restore, and there's been others that have rejected the opportunity, rejected that, and and then not only that, I think about all those people that all the potential people that I may have hurt, or that have hurt me, and it's just like, what, you really just kind of have to walk in a blanket, this idea of forgiveness, this attitude of forgiveness. Because the truth of the matter is, we're human, and we're going to get hurt. There's going to be pain. There's going to be trouble. There's going to be these conflicts. There's going to be, it's just the nature of it. And to figure out how to walk in a way that's like, you know what, I forgive you. Just even when you're wronged, or when you're accused, or when things are really tense, it's just like, taking the humble approach and saying, you know what, it's okay, I forgive you. That's the manner of Christ, and I'm not saying any of this like I got it figured out. I do not have it figured out. I'm just saying that it's hard. It is unbelievably difficult. At least I'm finding it is. I think too it's helpful to realize that we don't really wrestle with flesh and blood. The warfare is, even though the Christian life is a battlefield and it's a warfare, and a lot of times there's a lot of collateral damage and a lot of friendly fire. In that regard, it's ultimately I'm dealing with a devilish, a hellish spirit when it comes to these kinds of things, and it's. I think I would do well. We would all do well to learn that the battle it's not against flesh and blood, but against spirits and principalities and wickedness, spiritual wickedness. Anyway, I'm just walking through this idea of forgiveness, just really just wanting to be like Christ, and wanting my life to be conformed to that, and just to say that it's difficult because it's easy for it's easy for for us to not live in forgiveness, and this anger and this bitterness and this frustration just digs down and roots in us, and it really in a lot of ways just does violence to our own soul as a result. And I don't want that. I don't want that anymore. Sometimes I actually wonder if a lot of my physical issues are not a result of just not, for a lot of years, not living in forgiveness and not really cultivating a life surrounded by forgiveness. And if I just learn to forgive and move on and have a more humble approach, maybe things would be different. I don't know. Maybe. It's certainly time to start finding out. Anyway, I just wanted to share that. I don't know why. I mean, I know why the Lord has brought this into my mind, and I know what He's doing it for. But maybe maybe this will help someone out there in the great big world to start trying to walk in a manner of forgiveness that's like Christ. Anyway, all right. Thanks again for watching, and I hope this is a blessing. Talk soon.